Movie starts with Jang, who leaves his wife's mood off and goes to work without having breakfast. After office, Jang goes to a meeting with his father-in-law, who Guy Jang, in dealing with new companies, means this business belongs to Jang's father-in-law, which is handled by Jang. After this, Jang is outside of his new office and tells his assistant, it took him 18 years to get here. Next, Jang is a restaurant, and he asks when order comes, where is the woman who used to be here before? Then it turns out that she died. Jang doesn't like the food, and he is about to pay the bill. Only then, a boy eating food there has to go early on a call, but he had forgotten his wallet at home. The shop owner asks Jang to pay the bill of that boy, and Young is left wondering how anyone can eat so much. Well, it was being guessed just by looking at his size. Young was smoking when the same kid appeared on the roof of the building next to him. He was standing on a wall trying to get a shoe, but falls on Jang due to loss of balance. When Young's eyes open, he finds himself in the hospital, and everyone calls him kid, so he gets angry. When he tries to go out of there, he sees his body. He gets surprised to see himself in the mirror that he is the boy from the restaurant. Actually, due to the fall of Kim on Jang, both had switched souls. Jang was in Kim's, and Kim was in Jang's body, who was in a coma. Kim's dad hears Jang's strange words and takes him to the doctor. So she tells that due to trauma his memory has gone. Jang goes to his house in Kim's body, and his wife is horrified to see him. He tells her that I am your husband, but his wife doesn't believe, and she says, okay, if you are a Jang, then I am your mother. Then she calls security and asks, who did you know the room password? Jang says, I prove to you that I am Jang. But the guards arrive and he is handed over to the police. There, Kim's dad apologizes and takes him away. After going hospital, he jumps on his means Jang's body and says, get out of here, all problems are happening because of you. At just then, Jang's guard comes there, warns him and sends him away. Now he comes with Kim's dad to their house. Dad cooks a lot of food for him, which is enough for 4 or 5 people. He tells Dad that you have some misconception. I cannot eat so much food. But he says, son, you only eat this much. He feels dizzy after eating a little food, and when he regains consciousness, he is shocked to see that he has eaten all the food. Next day, he goes to school with Dad, where Dad talks to the principal that this incident happened with Kim because of the children of his school. The principal feels bad when Jang sits with an attitude in front of him. Dad excuses and says he has lost his memory, so don't mind it. At school, during lunchtime, Young comes to sits with all the students. So everyone gets up from there and leaves, eating alone. He sees a girl being bullied by her fellows. So he says, keep quiet, kids. I do not like to eat in noise. Hearing this, a friend of the bullies comes and says, how dare you? He was about to slap him when a teacher came, and he tells him to meet him later. When Young goes to meet that boy, he is very surprised that he was so coward, and today he himself has come to die. He was about to hit him. On the contrary, Jang beats him. After this, the bad boys harass Kim's friend. Seeing Jang coming out of the washroom, they stop speaking. Young rescues Kim's friend and takes their phone because he wanted to see the video of Kim's fall. When he goes home and watches the video, he understands that Kim fell from the roof because of those bad kids, and there was a student, Hyen, who was trying to stop them to tease Kim. Next day, when Jang returns the phone, they get scared that maybe he will go to the police, but Jang says that he does not trust the police. Then Jang meets his assistant and tells him that he is Jang, but he doesn't believe. But when he hears all his details from him, which only Young knew, so he is forced to believe. The assistant brings a lot of food for him on his request, which he eats alone. The next day at school, he bumps into Hyen. Her bunny fell near Kim. He picks up the bunny and goes to Hyen, where he meets Hyen's mother. He gets quite shocked because she was his ex-misun, and when Jang calls her misun, she slaps him and says, don't you know that kids don't call elders by their name? Hyen says let him go. His memory has gone. The next day, he takes Hyen's hair and gets it tested. Then he learns that Hyen is misun and Jang's daughter. Next day, he saves Hyen from some girls teasing her. But he does not stop here, but tells his assistant, all of them should be punished for troubling my daughter. The assistant tells him that he cannot do this. Then he explains that this is not a solution. When he talks to misun, she agrees to make Hyen take fighting lessons. On the one hand, Hyen used to get training of fighting, and on the other hand, Jang also starts grooming him in Kim's body, after which when he goes to school, everyone is shocked to see Fat turning into a handsome. On his return from school, he accompanies Hyen to her house, where he clicks her childhood pictures on his phone, and become happy seeing them. In school, bullies once again come to bully Hyen, but she teaches them a good lesson. Jang is happy to see this, because this is what he wanted. Next he is with misun at a restaurant. Miss Sun while eating tells him that she used to eat this food with Jang. And here we learn that Jang went to the restaurant for Miss Sun in the beginning. That Miss Sun had shifted a restaurant. Miss Sun misses Jang a lot, but at the same time she was angry with him. Then some rants enter the restaurant and annoy Miss Sun seeing her alone. But they didn't know that Miss Sun wasn't alone. Jang is furious touching Miss Sun and breaks everyone's bones. Seeing this, Miss Sun asks him, "Who are you?" Now he tells Miss Sun that he is Jang and Kim's body. Miss Sun doesn't believe him, so Yoon tells her where did they meet for the first time and where they break up. Miss Sun gets convinced, but she was angry with him, so she makes him run away. Now we see a flashback of Jang breaking up with Miss Sun because he was marrying his boss's daughter, so he could get more success in his field. Such people become successful, but they are not happy from inside, and this happened with Jang. He married, but was not happy with his wife. Next, Hyun is overjoyed when her school crush invites her to a birthday party at his house. Elsewhere, Yoon meets Miss Sun and apologizes to her. Miss Sun says, "If your body was not switched, then would you have apologized to me?" When Miss Sun tries to leave him there, Jang holds and kisses her and Miss Sun slaps him. Before they end their fight, he gets a call about Hyun that she is in trouble. Yoon immediately rushes to save Hyun where the birthday boy was harassing Hyun with his rowdy friends. Yoon reaches there and fights with them, and Hyun gets confidence from him. He also teaches them a good lesson. Next, Yoon learns that his wife has accused him of embezzling money. So Yoon writes a letter about her affair and sends it to his father-in-law. Then he visits to meet Hyun, but Miss Sun doesn't let him meet Hyun. When Jang emerges from there, a student proposes to him, to which Jang tells her to go home and study. Hyun comes there and asks him, "Do you like her?" Then he says no. Hyun tells her that "I want to make you my boyfriend." Hearing this, Jang immediately runs away from there. When Hyun tells this to Miss Sun, she scolds her that you both cannot be together. Next day, Miss Sun fights with Jang. Said, "What you have done that Hyun wants you to be her boyfriend." Yoon says, "I was just helping him, but if you forgive me everything will be fine." Miss Sun says that you are in the body of a child. "If I forgive you still, we cannot be together." Hyun comes there and listens to all this, and she asks the meaning of all this. So Jang says, "I love your mom." Hearing this, Hyun gets very angry and leaves. Miss Sun fights with Jang. That "Why did you tell her?" Yoon says, "I had no other way to change my daughter's feelings." Somebody comes to the hospital to kill Jang, but Kim regains consciousness in his body. He goes to his dad and asks, "Why have I become like this?" Dad gets very scared and starts running away from there. But only then Jang and Kim's body comes there. Seeing this, Kim and Yoon's body gets quite shocked that how did I become so smart? Now Jang and Kim's body tells the whole thing to Dad, but Dad doesn't believe like others. But when Jang as Kim tells him about his childhood, he understands. Then Jang tells Kim, "I know you like Hyun, but if you help me then Hyun and you can be together." What else Kim wants he happily agrees. Now we see Jang's wife scolding the man who failed to kill Yoon. Then her dad calls her and shows the letter of Jang, in which he told about her affair. She asks how can he write letter in coma. Dad says that he wrote this letter before coma. Hearing this, she says that she met her lover after Jang's coma. Hearing this, Dad understands that Jang is right and his daughter is wrong. Jang's father-in-law calls Jang, and Kim goes to him in Jang's body, to whom Jang gave Bluetooth hands-free, so that he can guide him properly. But at the same time there is an issue in Bluetooth. Dad had called Jang to get the property papers signed, but Jang's wife says that he has a daughter. Now Kim had to handle everything, and Yoon had told everything Kim. So he says to Dad that he did not know about this. But now I have understood that family is everything. That's why I don't want any property. I want to be happy with my family. When he comes and meets Jang, then Jang hugs him to handle the whole matter. At the same time, Jang's wife was coming to kill Jang. Due to her hit, Jang and Kim's body had an accident. When Hyun comes to the hospital, he apologizes to her, and Hyun comes to know everything. But at the same time, both Jang and Kim faint, and then their souls go back to their respective bodies. Now we see that everyone in school liked Kim, but he only liked Hyun and stayed with her. Aang was living with Miss Sun, and they used to run a restaurant together. Not only this, but Kim's dad was with them in the restaurant as well, and this perfect family was very happy with each other. The movie ends with the happy faces of this happy family. Thank you.